Hello everyone, welcome to the new video of Vishnu Mantra for learning Selenium C#. Kindly subscribe and like for more videos. In this video, we will be discussing about HTML, CSS and JavaScript. You might be wondering why we have to start with this in order to learn Selenium. Using Selenium, we will be automating web browsers. It is very essential that you should know the basic building blocks of web pages, which are HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Those who already know this can skip the video, but you can also refresh your memory by watching this video. The beginners, don't worry, you don't have to dive deep into these topics, but a basic understanding of all of this will help you to understand Selenium in a better way. This will definitely give you a strong footing and will make learning Selenium very much easier. So let's start our journey by opening a browser and let us look into a web page. We can navigate to this URL, which can be used for our testing purpose. So I'm going to open this up in Google Chrome. So I'm navigating to this particular website. This website you can use for your learning purpose. In order to view the structure of this web page, we have to open up the Google console. So in order to open the Google console in a Windows machine, you can click on F12 button. In some machines, you can press function key and F12 together in order to view the Google console. Okay, now I have opened up the Google console. You can see the structure of this web page. In the Elements tab, you can see HTML, open tag and close tag. Inside that, you can see head tag and body tag. Okay, so there are different components available within this web page. So let us progress into those components. So let's start with HTML now. The HTML structure will look like this. Inside a web page, you can see two different components, head as well as body. So these are tags in which all our data is enclosed. So what is the relevance of HTML? So HTML is used in order to contain our data. So whichever data you are seeing within a web page, that is inside our HTML. So this is the structure of the HTML. It will start with a doc type HTML followed by HTML tag, head tag and body tag. So I will copy paste all of this into a notepad and we can try open this in a web browser. Okay, I have now copy pasted the contents into a notepad. I am going to save it. Save it into my desktop, the test folder. Learn automation.html. Okay, I am putting an extension called .html and I am going to save it. So if I open up my test, I can see learn automation.html is available. I will choose to open it with always with Google. So you can see that right here, learn automation.html opened up, but nothing is there inside our web page because we don't have any contents, and you can see the title as learn automation.html. Now coming back to my document, let's try understanding what all of these are. So we will try to inspect this inside our browser itself. If I click on F12 again, see, this is the inspect button using which I can inspect the web contents, but I don't have anything inside my web page, so I can't inspect it. So let's see that structure here as well. You can see, right, head is there, doc type HTML is here, then our body is there. Okay, now what is this head? Head is where we will give our metadata. So what is metadata? Metadata is the data about data. So whatever contents you give inside your body or web page, I told you, right, using HTML you will be saving all your contents. So whatever you visualize or see inside your web page, that is within your HTML. So this whatever data you are passing to other people using your web page, all those things will be within your body, and the metadata contains the keywords and phrases that describe the contents of the page. So it will help the search engine to find data within a web page. Okay, and inside the body we will give our actual data. So now let us go back to our notepad and we will type in something. Okay, so inside the head we can give a title. So I am going to type the title. I'm going to give our first page as the title, and I'm going to close the tag. Now inside the body, I'm going to give some content called we are learning automation. Okay, I'm saving it, and if I come back here and if I refresh the page, see our title changed to first page, and we can see we are learning automation as our content. So did you see that? Now our metadata, that is the information that we are providing for the search engine regarding our web page went to head part, and our actual data which we want to pass to the end users is in the body part. Okay, so this is the basic structure of an HTML. Then what this doc type means, that is also very important. So during the evolution of HTML, it began around 1991. From there are different versions of HTML available. Now HTML5 is the latest version. So doc type HTML gives an indication to the search engine that your web page is in HTML5. It is optional. Even if you don't give this, it will interpret it as HTML5. Okay, I hope you might have now understood what is the structure of an HTML and what are the relevance of all of this. And other thing I want to explain is like tags. So what is HTML? So HTML means Hypertext Markup Language. So we are marking up all our contents within the tags. We are marking up, right? We are marking up our data within the tags. That's why it is called Hypertext Markup Language. There are many other tags also available, like heading, that is from H1 to H6. You can give to show the headings of the web page. Paragraph you can mark with a P tag. Then for list there are tags available, like for unordered list there is a UL tag which contains li as the list contents. So now you might have understood like what is a HTML page is. So raw content means your raw data. Suppose if it is your profile that you are going to show inside a HTML web page, then you will have your raw content marked up within the tags. You will have different tags available, which is called HTML markup, and that you will feed into a browser. The browser will show your web page to the end user. This is how HTML works. Okay, let's now add some more contents to our HTML web page. So now I will add a heading inside the body. So we are learning automation. I will try to make it into a heading with H1 as the tag. Okay, now I am making this into a heading. I am saving this, and if we go to our browser and refresh it, you should see now it's a heading with H1 tag. Again, if we come and inspect this thing, you can see the tag is highlighted with H1. We are learning automation, and it is highlighted as the heading. Okay. So in order to learn more about HTML, you can use this. I will give the link for this in the description. It is not necessary that you learn all of this, but if you want to dive deeper into HTML or refer anything related to HTML, you can come here and you can read about it. In this website there are like options to try yourself. If you click on try it yourself, you have options to try it by yourself. You can run the code and you can see, you can edit it here and you can make the changes and run it here itself. Okay, so you can visit this page if you are having any doubts related to HTML. But for our purpose, we don't have to dive deeper into all of this. Okay, now let's move into the next content, which is called CSS. So what is CSS? In order to understand CSS very easily, you can remember this example. So you can see the actress in two different photos. One is like HTML and one is HTML plus CSS. So what happened? You can see that with HTML plus CSS, the actor got styling. So CSS is used for styling purpose. So cascading styling sheets are used for styling purpose to make your website colorful and vibrant. Okay, so I hope with this image itself you might have understood what is CSS and why it is used for. Now let us look into CSS in detail. You can define CSS in three different ways. One is inline CSS, internal CSS, external CSS. So it depends on how you are like implementing CSS within HTML. So let's see one by one. We can start with inline CSS. So inline CSS means you can apply a unique style for a single element. We saw that there are like tags available within HTML. For each one of these tags, we can apply some unique style using inline CSS. To use inline styles, we have to use an attribute to the relevant element. So here you can see h1 is our heading. So to h1 we are giving an attribute called style, and we are providing a color to color as blue. So what does that mean? It means we are providing some characteristics to our tag. So what are attributes? Attributes provide characteristics to our tags, and using these attributes we can provide features to our elements, and every attribute comes with a key and value. So what is the key here? The attribute name here style, and the value is color is blue. Okay, so these are attributes. We will be using these tags as well as attributes throughout our learning inside Selenium. Okay, so now let's try applying this attribute to our h1 component and see how it looks. I copy pasted the attribute to our h1 component to give some color to it. Okay, I am saving this, and let's see our web page now. I am going to refresh this. See, our web page color got changed, heading color got changed. Okay, so this is a simple example of inline CSS. We are giving the styling alongside our elements itself. It is in line with our element. That's why it is called inline CSS. Now let's get into the internal CSS. What is internal CSS? Internal CSS are defined with a style tag inside our head. So inside our head we will be using a style tag to define our CSS. So here you can see that I am giving the styles like body, background color as light blue, means our HTML web page body will get the background color light blue, and for our heading tag we are giving the color as navy blue. Okay, and we are providing we are closing the style as well as head tag, and inside our body we are defining our head and paragraph. Okay, this is how the internal styles work. So internal styles we provide within our head tag. So we will copy paste this within our HTML and see how it works. Now I have this internal styling available. I am going to remove it, and inside my head I am going to, under my title I am going to provide with my style. Okay, so I am okay, I copy pasted this entire style. I am saving it. Now let's go and see our web page, how it looks like. Did you see that? Now what happened? Inside our head we can see the style available. This is the example of internal CSS, and we are giving our body as body background color as light blue, and our h1 color we are giving it as navy, right? So this is how the internal CSS works. Now we can see how external CSS work. In external CSS we will be having a external style sheet. So whatever now we provided inside a internal CSS within our head tag, we will provide it in a separate file. We will provide it as a separate file and keep it alongside our HTML. So this is called external CSS. So in all the practical scenarios we will be having external CSS, and we will be keeping it inside a separate page. How it is beneficial? You can change the look of an entire website by changing it inside a one file. The prerequisite here is you should include a link tag inside your HTML linking to your external file. That is the prerequisite. So let's create one file and keep it alongside our HTML, and we can apply the styles there. Okay, So same style, let's see how we can apply. I'm going to open a notepad. Okay, what I am going to do is like whatever I have given here, right? This body color and h1 styling, I am taking it out. So I am going to remove it and I am going to paste it inside a new file here. So it is telling this is the body and body like color, and this is the heading color. Okay, I am going to save it to my desktop in the same folder. So you have to save it in the same folder, otherwise you have to mention the path while you linking the file with the HTML. So I am going to give here as my style .css. So you have to give the extension as .css and you can save it here. Now what you have to do, you have to link your HTML with this external styling sheet. So we can link it now. So I'm going back to my HTML and I am going to provide with the link inside my head tag. So I'm providing with the link and you can see my style.css. So what is this tag? I am providing with a link tag and I am mentioning relationship, that is this HTML file is establishing a relationship with the referred file, which is the styling file, and that relationship is a style sheet. So I am establishing a relationship called style sheet with the file called mystyle.css to my HTML. Okay, and I am mentioning the type as CSS. Okay, I am saving it and let's refresh our web page and see. You would have noticed that there is no much difference because we have done the same in both our files. So you can now see we are referring to the style sheet which is mystyle.css and it is kept inside my desktop. You can see the path as well, right? Okay, this styling sheet is now giving styling to this entire web page. Okay, now let's move into the next topic. Our next topic is JavaScript. So what is JavaScript? Again the same image. So now we can see the actress started dancing. So what does that mean? It means now we are adding some dynamic content. We are making our web page dynamic, or we can say that we are giving some actions to our web page. So this is how HTML, CSS and JavaScript differs. Now we are adding more features to our web page by having JavaScript. JavaScript is a very good language. You will be using it in your Selenium C# code as well, because during scripting there are certain JavaScript codes that will be very handy and will be also very useful for us during our learning with Selenium. So JavaScript we have to learn in detail on a later stage. While constructing a web page, this is what you have to understand about a JavaScript. Okay, now we can see some examples of JavaScript. So JavaScript, as we saw in CSS, it is also can be defined in three different ways. One is in line with the HTML, between the script tag, and the third is as an external file. So let's quickly look into all of this. So within the HTML, so in line with the HTML means you can give it alongside your tags. So we are having a tag called button here. So for this button tag we are providing a JavaScript feature, that is on clicking of the button tag we should show the date. So what this means, okay, we are telling on click we have to do something. We will copy paste this thing into our HTML file and let's see how it works. I'm going to paste it here after my h1 content and I'm going to save it. Just see in our browser what happened now. I'm refreshing the browser. See, we got a button here. Now let's interpret our code. We will interpret the code within the HTML itself. Okay, so you might have observed we are having a button, and this button we are marking the attribute as button. This is a attribute in HTML. If we give the type as button, means a button will appear, and what it is telling, on click of this button it is instructing to do something. So if you click on this button, it is telling to get the element with ID demo. So if you see here, I have added one more tag called P. P is for paragraph, and what it is telling, it is giving a attribute called ID with value demo. Okay, so we can refer this paragraph with this ID demo, and we can add characteristics to this. So in our styling sheet, if we go and add something for this ID, maybe some color, or maybe we can make it italics, all those things we can do in our styling sheet as well with this ID reference. So we can add more characteristics. Here what we are telling, for this ID we are telling to show the date function. So it is telling to show the current date and time. So on click, it is going to get the element within the document with ID demo, and it is going to change the inner HTML. Inner HTML means it will change the content of this and going to make it as date. So I am refreshing this. If I click here, see the date appeared now. Okay, if I refresh it again, it will be the earlier one. And in order to understand it easily, there is one cool feature of a console that we can edit it in the console itself. So I'm clicking on edit as HTML. I'm going to give my paragraph here, and I'm clicking here. Okay, did you see that? You can see my paragraph appearing here. See, I entered a paragraph. I can add more text here, but now if I click on this button, the paragraph changed to the date and time. Because why? It is telling, it is adding a JavaScript, and it is telling to change the inner HTML, that is this inner HTML, to date and time. So whatever present in there, it is converting it into the inner HTML. It is changing the inner HTML into date. Okay, I hope you understood how this is working. You can also try it out yourself. Now let us see other way of defining JavaScript inside the HTML, that is between the script tags. Inside the head you can give a script tag. Inside the script you can define a function as my function. I am naming the function as my function, and I am providing with my JavaScript. Okay, and when it comes to button, here inside the button we will mention we will have an attribute called onClick. In the onClick we will call this function. Okay, and it simply perform the same action. So let's copy paste this in our HTML and see how it works. So beneath my link test, I am going to paste it, and here inside onClick I am going to call this function, which is my function. And saving this, coming back to the browser, let's refresh it and see. And if I click here, it will show the date. The same thing, we are doing it in a different way. So if you look at the head tag, you can see the script now available, and we are keeping the script inside the tags, inside the script tags within our head. This is how we call the JavaScripts within the script tags. Now let's look into the other way of doing this. Ways like we can give, as we have provided for cascading style sheet, we can give a separate JavaScript file. So within this JavaScript file we can provide with our function, and we can call this JavaScript inside our HTML as we saw now. Okay, so it's the same, like we will call the JavaScript inside our HTML, and we will define the JavaScript outside our HTML. We will put it in a separate file. So we can open up a new notepad and paste our JavaScript content. So I am just copying this function. So I am going to save this inside the same folder. So I am going to name it as my script.js. Now you should mention the extension as .js. Okay, and I am saving it. Now my JavaScript file is also available. So if we look at the folder, we can see that our HTML file is there, JavaScript file is there, CSS is there. Okay, now let's see inside our HTML how to call this JavaScript. So in order to call this, you have to mention inside the script file your JavaScript file name, and wherever you want to call the function, you have to call this function as well. Okay, so we will do that as well. So I'm going to remove this one. And I'm going to keep it my script file. Also, I have to put the closing function. Okay, I'm saving it. Now let's look into our browser and see how it works. So I'm refreshing it. So it's again showing me the date and time. If I click here, I have made a mistake. I have given myscripts.js. It should be myscript.js. So I have to edit my text here again. So I'm going to give it as myscript.js and I am saving it. Now if I come back and refresh here, and if I click here, see the date and time appeared again. Did you see that? You can see that myscript.js, it is referring to myscript.js and your date and time is getting changed. Okay, this is how we will make changes with an external JavaScript file to our HTML. So here also we are referring, inside our HTML we are referring, and we are keeping it as the source. We are giving the source tag, the source attribute, and we are referring the file. So in case if the file is not within this folder, if it is residing somewhere else, we have to give the path. So now you might have understood like how the web page works and what are the essential components inside a web page. This will help you to easily interpret. While you learn Selenium, you will be easily able to interpret when we explain regarding the Selenium controls. It will be very easier for you to understand how it works and what is the relevance of it, which control you have to opt for. All those things you will understand easily. Okay, I hope that by now you might have understood what is HTML, CSS and JavaScript is. So with HTML we can keep all our content, whatever information we have to pass to the end users, we can keep it inside our HTML, and CSS will add layout, styling to our HTML web page, and finally the JavaScript, it will add behavior to our HTML web page. Also it will make our page dynamic. Okay, now the first exercise for you: create a web page, add your name and details with picture, and also you can apply some background color. You can make the contents as bold. You can give different heading size. Also add some dynamic content to your web page. By having JavaScript in place, you keep a button, and when we click on this button, you can show the date and time. This is your first exercise. You can refer W3 schools as well. If you are having any doubts, or if you want to do more in this regard, you can refer that. I will keep the link in the description. After completing the exercise, please share with us. We would like to see your exercises. So you can email us to learnvishnumantra@gmail.com. If you have any doubt, please comment it below the video. Also, you can email us your doubts. So hope that you all learned from this video. In our next video, we will be covering the environment setup. Let's get into Selenium C# coding. So we will show you how to set up the environment, what are the prerequisites and all those things we will explain. If you like the video, please click on the like button. Also subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching.